Like it or not, we are back. Welcome into the latest edition of the ESPN FC studios. After a little summer holiday, Craig Burley and Stevie Nicol are alongside me. We also welcome to the programme Herculez Gomez, and what a tan Julien Laurent brings to the table as well. We'll kick things off with the news that broke today that Mauricio Pochettino has put pen to paper on a new contract with the US men's national team. He'll be in charge until 2030. Let's start off with Herc. You excited?
Very excited, very excited. Not as excited as the majority of U.S. men's national team fans. Listen, a lot of U.S. men's national team fans, 50 million are casual fans that saw this World Cup and saw Mauricio Pochettino be one of the clear winners of this World Cup. He was a tournament darling, an American sweetheart. He was very charming. He made the U.S. men's national team play in a way they've not played probably in their World Cup history. If we got to go back to 2002, that famous game against Portugal, to go back the last time when a American team inspired Americans in that fashion. But they're forgetting about the 20 months that led to that. That game versus Paraguay was the first time he played with his starting 11. Not because he didn't have that lineup at his disposal, but when he finally decided that was going to be the lineup, that was going to be the formation, that was going to be his team. And you played well against Paraguay. You played a good 55 minutes against Australia. And then the rest of the World Cup was almost as advertised, as expected. And then came the Belgium game. Humiliating fashion, 50 million Americans saw you bow out. What I'm trying to get at here is there is a world in between those 20 months when it wasn't all rosy, when it wasn't all great for the U.S. men's national team, and we cannot just ignore that. That aside, if the 17-12-2 record, 17 wins, 12 losses, and 2 draws in those games isn't enough to make you think twice, there is the ever-flirting Mauricio Pochettino with European football factor here. If you were to tell me Mauricio Pochettino is for sure going to be there at the 2030 World Cup, I would say, you know what? Go ahead. I saw some good things. Maybe you can build on this. In a team that's going to be in flux, in a generational change. But I don't think anybody here can realistically expect Mauricio Pochettino to not be swayed or tempted. And there is the problem that JT Batson, a CEO, somebody who is responsible for finances within U.S. soccer, is making the decision that is sporting, that this will be the guy for the next 4 years. Regardless if there is a buyout clause, to me, this is shaky territory. Because if he's not, you're already adding more missed time to a program that missed time with Greg Berhalter, Dave Sarachan, 13 months in the first go-around, first cycle, some more time with Greg Berhalter and rehiring him in the second cycle, and now more time in this third cycle. It just doesn't scream like it's the best opportunity for U.S. soccer. But given their finances and the private investment, the private equity that was afforded to them to hire Mauricio Pochettino, they think they got their guy.
Craig?
Well, you think he's going to jump ship, don't you?
Definitely, 100%. No way he's going to be at the World Cup in 2030. This makes sense. This makes sense for him completely. Why not just take the US money until I get a better offer?
It would kind of seem that the offer out there that maybe he thought was coming his way and maybe would have come his way had the US gone a little bit further. I don't think many expected him to go, if they got to the quarterfinals, which they did not. As Herc mentioned, the Belgium game was a bit of a disaster for them in a football parlance. If he'd have got to the quarterfinals, and I think it was Spain they were going to get in that side of the bracket, I think that would have been a very good World Cup. As it was a decent one. But I think it didn't propel him, for some of these real big jobs. And maybe the big jobs that are not out there at the moment. So, yeah, you may be right. This is possibly a bit of a holding pattern for him.
Yeah.
Wait and see. And it will be
with one girl to a prettier.
Well, that's your analogy.
Assuming.
Well, we will see what happens down the line. But if in 2 or 3 years' time he walks out the door before the next major championship for the US, obviously being a World Cup, then it will have been basically a waste of time.
I'll tell you what, I don't know whether it was him or his agent that got him this deal, but they are laughing all the way to wherever they want to go.
Yeah, the bank, I think it's...
I mean, Stevie, did they do any... I mean, I'd be interested to know, did they do any proper due diligence on other candidates out there? Do you remember when they
probably did enough. He did enough that they think that if he can produce... Take the Belgium game away, if he can produce a team that can fulfil the way they played in those other games, then to them, it's a good move. It just so happens that this is absolutely It's all about this guy. He can do exactly what he wants. If he fancies staying for 4 years, he can do it. If he gets an offer, he can disappear. So the real winner's Pochettino. He's sitting pretty.
You know, when you peel back that banana skin of their group, and the US did play well. There's no doubt. I mean, they were actually enjoyable to watch. Yeah. Particularly the first game or the first couple of games. Australia was a bit of a slog, to be honest. And Turkey changed the team because they were already through. But there was an energy about them. There was a dynamic pressing, passing forward quickly, not dilly-dallying on the ball, and a lot of players played well. Tillman played well, Adams played well, McKennie played well, Dest played well. Obviously, Balogun was a big story during the World Cup. There was lots of players played well until they got to the Belgium game, and when you peel it back, not to take any of those results away, but it really wasn't a particularly difficult group. Paraguay had a good come-the-ball qualification, but they fell apart. Australia are absolutely bang average, and Turkey don't win much these days. And Bosnia, who they beat in the round of 32, they are no great shakes in terms of European football. So he got a little bit lucky in the sense that was not a strong pathway to go through. They still got the results. But it wasn't like, when we go back to this, Jurgen Klinsmann 2014, the group that they had to get results in, that was proper teams. Those were proper results to get out of those groups. So he got a little bit lucky here, and when he met a decent Belgium side, let's be honest, Rudi Garcia outdone him. He left De Bruyne out, he left Doku out. Not a surprise he didn't play Lukaku up front, but he went for what he knew was going to deter the US, particularly in the middle of the park. And that was one of the downfalls of Mauricio Pochettino.
Well, he's definitely sold it to the people in charge. You know, if they haven't looked into who else would be available,
right,
then absolutely not doing the job. But they've clearly decided that what they saw is what they want to continue. And they're willing to take the chance that there's a possibility he might go to a big European club. But at the same time, they're gambling that the fact that nothing's come along now, they're gambling that nothing would come along in the next 3 or 4 years either. So they've decided to take that gamble.
They decided this before the World Cup started. They were already having talks about extending Mauricio Pochettino before the World Cup, so they didn't have to see the good play versus Paraguay or the good 55 minutes versus Australia or any of that afterwards. They were already setting this in motion. And the important thing here is Mauricio Pochettino, they're entrusting the keys to this kingdom in Mauricio Pochettino, more private funding, private equity from billionaires to get to structure his salary and get it over the line. And they're empowering him now with coaching education and player development. They're giving him more power. Got him in left, and it almost feels like they're entrusting those duties to Mauricio Pochettino. So in turn, Mauricio Pochettino, without really getting over the line, getting where he said he wanted to be, because he told the president of the United States they're going to win the World Cup. He told all these different people they will be in a semi in Atlanta and then got blown out by Belgium. He told everybody to believe and then lost in the round of 16. They're giving him more power here. That is the interesting thing with U.S. soccer.
Right then, Jules. Over the years when we've done this show, no matter what vacancy comes up, be it Manchester United, be it Real Madrid, be it Spurs, Mauricio Pochettino is always in the bookies list when we talk about who's going to be the next manager. Has his stock fallen so far that this is the best he can do, or is he just biding his time?
No, I don't think so. I think he was in the running for a few of the jobs this summer, and I think he was really undecided on what to do, and he was focused on the World Cup, which is true. But before the start of the World Cup, there were talks with AC Milan. Since the World Cup finished for him and the US, there were other talks and other interests and even indirect negotiations and discussions with other clubs in Europe. And right now, all the big jobs are taken anyway. So I think it's obviously quite obvious why he decided to sign this new contract. I agree with the boys. This is a good deal for the US men's national team if he's there in 4 years' time. Zidane signed with France. He's guaranteed, unless something goes really wrong and he gets sacked, that he will be there from his own making in 4 years' time. Same with Klopp. With Pochettino, we're not sure for all the reasons that the boys have explained already. I think there's stuff to build on after the World Cup. I think it's the time to say goodbye to people like Matt Turner and Tim Ream. No offense, but it's time for you to go. You can build around Balogun. You can build around Tillman more than around Pulisic, for example. There's some dual national players that are very talented, young players that you can maybe convince to play for the US. There will be added value. There's young players in MLS, American players that you can test in this 4-year cycle in the Nations League and the Gold Cup, because that's the two competitions they will play now, and be ready for the World Cup. But if he leaves in 2 years' time or 18 months, all of that will be pointless.
Last word to this on you, Herc.
Well, it's a very interesting time right now for the U.S. men's national team because they're going to be in a generational change. Jules just touched on some of the players that are leaving. A majority of their prime players will be in their 30s come 2030. You have to integrate the next generation. So in this integration of the next generation with the emergence of Canada, Jesse Marsh's Canada, and now Rafa Marquez's Mexico, it's going to be a very competitive CONCACAF environment. He's got to start winning trophies, which he didn't win in this last tenure, these 20 months with the U.S. men's national team. A Nations League they were accustomed to winning. Gold Cup that they had won with the BC team. So he's got to get back to winning ways with a team that's ever-changing. I think Jules hit it on the head here. If we can guarantee that Pochettino is going to be here for 2030, this is good. This is something to build on, and I am with it. But not guaranteeing that, and on his behalf, not thinking he would be swayed and there would be a buyout and the money is enough after hosting the most lucrative World Cup in the history of World Cups and the surplus being what it will be, that's not good enough. You're prioritizing the financial over the sporting, and I fear this could set the U.S. men's national team back.
During our absence, a lot of discussion about Vinicius Jr. and his future, as he's only got 1 year left in his contract, yet to sign a new deal. Vinicius is back until how long, though, is the front page of AS. Jules is with us. Jules, is this just your normal standoff and he looking for more money, or could Real Madrid really let him go?
I don't think they can afford to let him go, Dan, but this is normal procedure. He's got 1 year left on his contract. It's actually quite hard to understand and to comprehend how Real Madrid found themselves in this position with arguably the best player they've had in the last 5 years or so, one of the best in the world in this position, certainly, to have given him that power that now he can decide really what happens next, because with 1 year left on his contract at Real Madrid, he's got all the cards in his hands. And for a club like Real Madrid, not just Real Madrid, but we talked about other clubs who were in a similar position with some of their star players, even recently with Liverpool, for example, it's very hard to understand how you can let that happen. However, this is the situation. It's normal for Vini and his people, his agents, to talk to other clubs right now or to see what others could offer, where he might end up if there's no extension to Real Madrid. It's normal for them to still talk to Real Madrid because I really believe that he wants to stay and Real Madrid wants him to stay as well. And for Real Madrid right now, I really don't think you can afford to let him go. And if there's no agreement found on his extension, then very quickly you have to make a decision. If there's no extension and you believe that he can't leave on a free in 12-month time, obviously, then you'll have to set a price and see what the offers are coming from other clubs in Europe.
To that point, sorry, just one sec, Craig. I didn't know this was going to be our graphic. There's no way that Arsenal could get anywhere near the wages that he'd want, is there, Jules?
I think that's very difficult. Yeah. He's one of the highest paid player in the world. Not just that, but image rights and things like that. Plus, there will be a transfer fee, and there's no way, even with 1 year left on his contract, that Real Madrid don't ask at least 100 million euros. So on top of that, you give him a 5-year deal on probably, Erling Haaland is now the highest paid player in the Premier League, but something very similar, probably very close to 400, slightly maybe more, £400,000 a week on 5 years, plus the transfer fee. This is an enormous investment from Arsenal, and maybe they can do it. Maybe they can find the money. Maybe a couple of more players would go and things like that. But this is a huge investment for them. If he comes to Arsenal, I think it's a game changer. But financially, they will need all the numbers to add up really to attract him to the club.
So is he looking for, I don't know if you know this, Jules, is he looking for something at Real Madrid? Because you're right, he is holding all the cards in terms of, ever since the Bosman ruling goes into the last year, then as long as you're a player that is something that almost everybody would take at a reasonable price, then you are the chief man in the poker game. But is he looking for something in terms of the money at Real Madrid that's parity with the likes of Kylian Mbappe? Or is he looking to be, what are you laughing at?
Chief man in the poker game.
Don't play poker. Well, he's a big chief in the poker game, isn't he? Is he looking for something that's parity with Mbappe, or is he looking to be basically the highest paid player at Real Madrid?
No, I was told that he wants a pay rise. He's already on an enormous amount of money, but that he wants a pay rise that would get him close or on a similar level to what Kylian is earning. And again, I don't think this is unrealistic from his point of view to kind of request that when you see the numbers. And okay, we can look at 25-26 season individually and collectively and say that Vini was not his best and the team was not his best. Sure, but he also won them Champions Leagues before and titles. And usually in this position, you get a pay rise, wherever you are in those big clubs, when you play like Vinicius at his age, because let's not forget, he's reaching now his peak years. It's not like if he was 30 already or about to get 30. This is a really good age for Real Madrid to extend him or for somebody else to go and sign him. So I think the money that he's asking is fair.
You're the big poker guy.
And
you're the big chief. When all the people go around your house, you know those boring people that go around your house for the cucumber sandwiches, and a glass of water. And you have a lovely game of poker.
Is there any world in which we can spin this to say this would actually be good for Real Madrid if he left?
Look, nobody's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Nobody is irreplaceable, but you have to replace.
Right.
And I think maybe, and I might be wrong here, I think it seems to me, as well as the money, part of the stumbling block, I think at times, is just persona and attitude. Yeah. And I think that would be a risk for other clubs if you end up...
You take it back to the first Clasico, the Xavi Alonso, everything that happened.
Well, it basically became... I mean, I'm sure he wasn't the only one, but he certainly wasn't... I certainly don't think he was receiving a Christmas card from Xabi Alonso. It was pretty clear that him and his team, and they were publicly quoted on this, were not happy with the amount of minutes that he was getting, and it became a bit of a fight between the two in terms of a power struggle, which ultimately that Alonso lost. As I say, I'm sure he wasn't the only player that wasn't happy. But yeah, no, I could see look. Kylian Mbappe might leave. Erling Haaland comes in, different type of player, but scores goals. There's always somebody that could come in and replace you. I mean, one of the lads, you could probably take at least a couple of the lads from PSG that would come in and be an adequate replacement in the wide positions, be it Doué, Barcola, Elise, Dembele, any of those boys, and there are other, Kvaratskhelia. So no, he's not. And I think the big risk is if he goes somewhere else, which I don't think he will, as Gilles mentioned, the amount of salary, the amount of pay you're going to have to pay him. And then we know if it's not going his way, he can be a problem.
It's the attitude.
It'd be great if we got us to Chelsea, wouldn't it?
Aye.
You are, Xavi.
I mean, it's just...
See what we got you?
Yeah, we got you a special present.
Apparently he loves your training.
Who would you think would be more upset?
Oh, well, Alonso would be out the door, wouldn't he? He would last 2 seconds.
I mean, listen, that's... In all honesty, we're pretty much talking about his attitude.
Yeah.
Because if it's Messi at that age, even the argument about, well, the whole dressing room's going to want the same amount of money, blah, blah, that doesn't apply really with Messi, because everybody knows it's Messi. But if I'm a player in that Arsenal dressing room, for example, and I've got Vini Jr. coming in, and he's going to be on ridiculously stupid money, and I know he's not going to run for me, I'm going to have a problem with that. And surely, if I'm writing the cheque at Arsenal, I'm asking the manager first and foremost, hold on a second, we've just seen what this guy's done over the last couple of years at Real Madrid, how he's kind of blown everything up in the dressing room. His behaviour on the field has been just atrocious, particularly in the big game with Barcelona. But you're asking me to sign a cheque, and we don't know what we're going to get. I think it completely changes the narrative, and it certainly makes his options are small.
Arsenal have signed players before, after their huge success under Arsene Wenger, not maybe to this standard, but they signed players once after the 2004-05 season when they last won the title, when they had the drought, they'd gone down a bunch of really talented players who didn't work particularly hard. Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, they signed Pepe, thought he was going to be brilliant. a flash in the pan.
That was Jules' advice. They said to sign.
They did have a lot of players who you would consider extremely talented, but were liabilities when they didn't have the ball. And Mikel Arteta has gone the other way with this Arsenal team. To take them to the Champions League final, to take them to the summit in the Premier League again, is good players who work, really good players who work really hard. And that's been the staple for them at Arsenal. That's been where they've had their recent success. Not by thinking, right, you know what, we could just go out and get somebody who's extra special, but it does upset the apple cart, both in terms of salary and potentially in terms of not pulling your weight when you're in a big game. So for those reasons, I wouldn't see him going to Arsenal.
There has been, though, a major overhaul at Real Madrid over the summer. Of course, Jose Mourinho coming in. Diomande is reported to be making that move from Leipzig to Real Madrid. We heard Leipzig come out, Jules, and say, no, this isn't going to happen, but you feel that it will inevitably happen at some stage before the window closes. For people who haven't seen Diomande, how does he fit into this Real Madrid side?
Well, I think he would be signed to play on that right-hand side. Obviously, if you think about Mbappe central and Vini on the left, if Vini stays, obviously, I still think that Diomande's best position is probably more onto the left-hand side, where he played mostly with Ivory Coast at the World Cup, although he played a lot on the right as well for Leipzig. So I don't think really right or left matters to him. He's very able with his right foot and his left foot. Last season was his first one really for a good European club. Before that, there was Leganés, in La Liga in Spain. But Leipzig, he showed all the potential and talent at only 19 years old of what he could do. Yet spending 130 million, which is what Real Madrid are about to spend on him, is still a bit of a gamble because the talent is there. But then we've all seen very talented 19-year-old players who never really made that step up. So this is the money that PSG didn't want to pay. For example, they stopped at 100 million and they say that's the valuation we have on him. If you're Leipzig, you're not happy with that, then sorry, we can't go higher up. Real Madrid seems okay and happy to go for 130, which again I think is borderline silly money really for players like Diomande, as talented as he is, a bit like what Chelsea paid for Rodgers in a sense. But the talent is there, and if Mourinho can help developing a bit more of that talent, nurturing all that talent, he can go to the next level, and then I think he's got everything to be one of the best players.
Where's the common sense gone? Where's common sense gone? We've sat here over definitely the last 12 months in particular going, they got a problem, Real Madrid. Mbappe wants to play on the left, and Vini wants to play on the left as well. So guess what? Let's go and spend over 100 million on a guy who really wants to play on the left as well.
He can play on the right.
It's mad.
He can play on the right.
If you're spending
Did you hit the desk for that point?
If you're spending 120 million on a player,
yes,
and you're not going to play him in his best position, really?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
I think the money in general just has gone. I mean, it's a different.
Seriously,
play, Rodgers is a very good player, but really, Elliot Anderson's a really good player, but really, and now as Jules mentioned, the money that's been thrown about now, these transfers is not. It's not really realistic in terms of balancing it with the talent of these players. It's just became utterly stupid, and it's no wonder some clubs that are obviously not as elite as Real Madrid and others at the top of the food chain go out and source a lot of cheaper players and sell them on at vast amounts of money. That's where to make money these days. You go and harness. Morgan Rogers was it 8 million? They signed him from Borough because Unai Emery saw him in some League Cup game or whatever it was and went, I like him, and they sell him for over 10 times. There's so many people out there just willing to pay this crazy money for players. It almost puts a lot of other clubs out of reach of even bidding for some of these players. It's so expensive.
One player that certainly won't be that expensive, Jules, but we'll talk about just as much, is Rodri. Where do we stand on the possibility of him playing for Real Madrid at the start of the season?
Well, I mean, like we just said with Diomande, Real Madrid have other, priorities there because Rodri is injured right now. He had surgery on his back, which was expected and should not be out for too long. We probably expect him back in 2 months, ready to play. So there's no urgency really from a Real Madrid point of view because you know that he's not going to be able to play in the next few weeks anyway. So let's sort out Diomande first. Let's sort out Vini first, which are the priorities right now. And then look for Rodri and look at a solution for Rodri who wants to come to Madrid. I think Real Madrid, and there were conflicting reports with people within the club. Some wanted Rodri, others wanted a younger player. Rodri is about to turn 30, by the way. And you can understand why, if you're Real Madrid, Rodri looked great at the World Cup, but that was over 8 games. His season with Man City had more ups and downs, really. And if you're Real Madrid, and some people at the club really believe that maybe a younger defensive midfielder that might be just not at the level of Rodri just now, but will be for the next 5 to 8 years, makes more sense than going for Rodri now with a kind of longish contract at 30, with the uncertainty over the injuries, not just the big one that he had previously, but also the back one that he's out now for. Makes more sense. But I still expect Rodri to probably make that move, and then City to replace him with Ayoub Bouadi, the wonder kid from Morocco and Lille.
But you just know Mourinho. Mourinho doesn't want that second option, does he? He wants the first option, which is the guy that can do it from now, the experienced guy, the player that they don't have.
Can he do it from now if he's injured all the time?
Well, the one thing I would say, you could look at a lot of players at Real Madrid and say, well, he could plug that hole, he could plug that hole, he could do that. Stevie mentioned the front boys, you could shuffle them all around. They haven't got that player, be it Rodri or anybody else. They haven't had it since Kroos and Modric. They've got too many. They've got Camavinga. Camavinga was terrible last year. Valverde's more of a runner. You know, we've got, like I say, Arda Güler and Brahim Diaz. They're not really natural midfielders. They don't have anybody with that nous and experience that can pass the ball and keep the ball like him. The big question is his fitness. And Jules is right. What we saw from him in the summer is not what we saw generally from him at Manchester City.
So why would it change?
Well, he's still, well...
He's only 30. He's not 35. He's only 30 years old. I mean, look at Modric. Left Real Madrid when he was, what, 38, 37? Can you imagine somebody when he was 30 saying, oh, he's 30. We need to start looking to replace him?
But there is a big gamble there. There's a big element of doubt.
Well, and here's the thing. If you want to look at what they're talking about spending on Diamande and maybe spending on Vini, and you're telling me that you're not going to take a little gamble on the money that Rodri's going to be? You wouldn't gamble that? Just because, yes, he missed a whole load of the season with Man City, but it was coming back from that ACL. It takes time, but he did show you what he's capable of when he's in some sort of shape in the World Cup. And you're not going to gamble on that.
It's against much inferior opposition, though, in a sense, isn't it?
Look, you know, if you get Rodri fit, you know what you're going to get. You absolutely. And you're telling me you're going to gamble all that money on those two up the front, and you're not going to take a gamble on a position that, since Toni Kroos left, has absolutely destroyed the middle of your pack. You've won nothing in the last 2 years. So you're telling me that's not worth a gamble on Rodri? 100% it's worth it.
Let's move away from Real Madrid and talk about Bruno Guimaraes. It's off to Arsenal, Jules. You must be loving it.
Well, I think he will end up there. But for now, they had first contacts today, a first offer that was rejected, which I think was expected from both sides. And they will talk again. We're talking here probably around 70 million pounds with some bonuses, probably 10 million to get up to 80 million pounds, which I think is the valuation for a player like him. Probably right. At his age, 28, with those kind of stats, with the leadership that he has, with what he can bring to Arsenal individually and then collectively as a team as well. So I expect this one to go through at some point. There will be a bit of a saga. I don't think it's something that can be done very quickly now. But he wants to go. They want him. Newcastle have to sell because that's the situation that they are financially. They had to let Gordon go and Tonali go, and now Bruno probably will go as well. But today was really the first step, I was told, in the direction of this transfer to happen.
Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? Yeah. If you're Arsenal and Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah, not no-brainer if you're up in Newcastle. You had the Isaac saga last year, and now they're just selling everything. But, you know, a very good player. I don't know how the dynamic would work in terms of that midfield. Obviously, maybe when he moves USMNT, or maybe move one or two on. They've got a big squad. He was sort of out of favour big time at the end, wasn't he?
That's the first time we've seen the odds. Look at them there.
Guimaraes and Rice. I'm trying to think, how would that midfield work, Jules? How could you see that Arsenal midfield of Guimaraes?
How were Liverpool third favourites? But anyway, that's for another show.
You are not kidding, by the way.
Wow. Sorry, Jules.
No, I was going to say Bruno as a six.
Even in it? Really?
Go on.
Who makes those odds?
Yes, exactly.
The way Arteta sees it is Bruno as the sixth. He loves how press resistant he is, and when you try to play up from the back, you need a player like him. And I think on that, he's really elite, really world class. Then Rice higher up on the left hand side, and the running, the half space, everything. And then Odegaard or Eze in the third position in that midfield, whether you want to call it another 8 on the right hand side or more of a 10, whether you play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, there will be tweaks and little things depending on the opposition and the forms, etc. And then you've got Zubimendi in the rotation. You've got Luis Kelly in the rotation as well. And that's what Arteta felt that he needed. We saw Zubimendi having a really good first half of the season and then running out of gas because he played so much, because there was not really an alternative to him in that position in the squad. Now with Bruno, and it's very expensive to sign both Zubimendi and Guimaraes within 12 months. Obviously, with the 2 summers, I get that. But at least you've got that depth in that very key position in the way Arsenal are playing.
Anything you'd like to add?
No.
Extra time is available over on our YouTube channel, where we stay late, as always, to answer your questions. This was the last show before we went on holiday. Look, there you are. Oh, the memories. Xhake's come in. Obviously, he was on loan last season. Victor Munoz has come in. Salah, Canate and Robertson, of course, going out. How are you feeling, Stevie?
Well, when I saw the draw for the first game of the season, what, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Who's it against?
It was against Newcastle away, and I thought, oh my goodness. Actually, now, I'm kind of glad it's Newcastle, because I think they're probably the only team in a worse mess than we are.
Right.
So actually, it's going to be an incredible game, because I'm not quite sure who's going to play for Liverpool, and I'm not quite sure who's going to play for Newcastle. So both teams are in absolute turmoil right now.
Should we talk about Barcola? Obviously, Jules, he's been linked heavily. Why would he go to Liverpool?
That's a good question, because they need him, because he will start probably, that he wants to play more of a starting role than what he's had at PSG last season. Although, to be fair, until the injury that he suffered against Chelsea in the last 16 of the Champions League, he was starting, and the way he was on the bench, it was him and Kvaratskhelia very much so. So his desire to leave, I mean, it's not even a desire, because I think he would be happy to stay at PSG. He's got 2 years left on his contract. But if a club like Liverpool, and he said to Liverpool already that he would be happy to go there if they find an agreement with PSG. If Liverpool can find an agreement with PSG and PSG are happy with the offer on the table, then I think Barcola would go there. So for him, right now he's really relaxed. He's still on holidays. He's going to come back soon. But he's thinking, if I'm staying, I'm happy. We just won back-to-back Champions League. And sure, he would like to start a bit more, because he didn't start in the Champions League final or semi-final in this season, or quarterfinals. But he's still a key player in that Luis Enrique team. And if he goes to Liverpool, he'll be a key player there. For Iraola, I think he fits very much the philosophy of Iraola, certainly in terms of intensity with and without the ball. There's a lot of room for improvement in his play, especially against low blocks, especially in the Premier League, I think, with the physicality. Very different to Ligue 1. He's only played in Ligue 1 through his whole career now. So there's a lot of things that he will have to adapt and integrate in his game. But I think it would be great for him to go to Liverpool. The problem right now, and we've been saying it a lot, is that the valuation that Liverpool have for him is here around, let's say, between 80 and 100 million pounds. And that's really top. And what PSG would want for him, which is more 140 to 150, the gap is too big for now.
That's, you know...
No, he's not worth 150 million. He's not.
No, you can talk about...
I agree.
They've got Isak and who's Ekitike and possibly Barcola and one or two... But what? Who's playing centre-half? Who's playing right-back? Is Conor Bradley? I saw we went to the Community Shield last year. I saw Frimpong. You know, he did well. Did well at Celtic, Scottish football. Did well in Germany. I saw him at the Cup. I saw him at that Community Shield. I was astonished how small he is. I thought he can't play. He cannot.
I like him.
Oh, trust me, made you look tall.
I like him and Jules.
So you look at that position there. Conor Bradley was injured. You got a problem at right back. Robertson obviously is gone, but he was kind of struggling a little bit, so that's not a surprise. And then the other question is Kerkez in his second season going to get a boost because his old manager has came in, who obviously he played very well under? Are they banking on that? Because that back line, Stevie, would worry me if I was.
I mean, right now, you're looking at Van Dijk and Gravenberg as your two centre-backs. And neither of them are going to be 100% fit.
Did you say
And one
Gravenberg?
Yeah. Who else is going to play there? Leone coming back from injury, he's not fit. The young French centre-back this side, Jacquet, he's been injured already. He's not going to be ready. Who's going to play? Joe Gomez. Oh, surprise, Joe Gomez is injured.
Steve
after
Nicol.
7 minutes.
Steve Nicol.
Frimpong's injured. Can't play fullback. Bradley's injured, can't play fullback. I mean, is Szoboszlai going to end up playing right back again? I mean, it's just every which way you turn, there are question marks all over.
If you make a change with Arne Slot, right, and you made that big decision, you kind of thought it was coming, but then it seemed it wasn't, and then it obviously happened. Once you make that decision and you go for a very, very good up-and-coming younger manager who's done good work in Spain and very good work in England, you can't bring him in and then leave him hanging. And
you gotta give him a chance,
unless this changes in the next 3 or 4 weeks, however long to the end of the window, and it's never good to do business that late, as Stevie said, you got to give him a chance. And what we saw last season was not just down to Arne Slot, it was down to the personnel in certain positions as well.
Yeah, the plan was horrendous last year. And it doesn't look as though it's changed any day, obviously.
They are, though, third favourites to win the Premier League.
That's absolute nonsense. They're not favourites to be in the top 4 right now.
Oh, there's the echo again.
In fact, right now, they're not favourites to be in the top 6. No. There are absolutely easily 6 teams in a better position right now than Liverpool are.
He's back, Liverpool echo, don't worry.
If you looked at what Liverpool have done and you looked at, for example, what Tottenham have done,
yeah,
you know, they've spent money, they've signed some really good players, and they're back in De Zerbi at the moment.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, Stevie. Jules, thank you very much, mate. Sorry about all the technical problems. They have nothing to do with me, so I don't know why I'm apologising. Much appreciated. Just a reminder to keep up to date with all the latest transfer news. Check out Transfer Talk over on the website. During our time off, Mr. Infantino has made a lot of headlines, pretty much all for the wrong reasons. Of course, looking to sell part of FIFA to private investors. That caused an uproar. Then all the federations voted against him, and now it looks like he's a dead man walking. Jules?
Yeah, I mean, I think his days are counted. I was going to say his days are counted. I don't think they're just counted just yet, but there's more and more pressure from the FAs all around the world. You know, FIFA have 211 countries or FAs that are part of part of FIFA, really. And there are mechanisms now before the election, the next election, to vote for the FIFA president, which is in March 2027, where right now Infantino was almost guaranteed to be re-elected again because he was the only candidate. Now the pressure is on because he thought he was untouchable.
Can his friend Mr. Trump help him at all, Jules?
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently Mr. Trump is not picking up his calls anymore, which obviously now that he's had the World Cup, now that he's had everything he wanted, Infantino is a stranger to him. And the problem is, I think Infantino spent probably too much time with people like Donald Trump, and that felt he was one of them, being untouchable, and actually he's not. And that idea that he had pretty much on his own, because let's not forget here, or let's remind everybody that this decision of trying to sell 20% of the World Cup was not shared with anybody either close to Infantino or within that kind of FIFA executive committee, who take those big decisions or certainly put them forward for then the football federations around the world to vote for. He pretty much did that on his own, and a lot of people were very angry. Even his closest allies were quite angry with how this went about, basically, and now he's under huge pressure. I think he's probably just about political enough to hang on until the election in 2027, but there's a scenario where the pressure gets too big and too much on him that he has to go.
He cannot. It's been crystal clear for a long time that this is a man that cannot read the room, right? The word shame is not in his vocabulary. You cannot shame this man. He's brazen. Long before the World Cup, the Club World Cup was his idea as well. It was a money spinner. It should be shelved. If you watch the World Cup draw, that took cringe to different levels of cringe. And that showed you that this man here was not aware or was ignorant to the rest laughing at him. Not laughing at him because he wasn't making people a lot of money, because he was. But they were laughing at his actions. And his actions continued into the World Cup. And I'm not going to go over go over the coals again with this. But what he did during the World Cup was more harmful to the game than anybody making money. It was the integrity of the game, and we all know what I'm talking about. He was an utter disgrace, but he walked about this World Cup here in North America and beyond as if, as Joe said, as if he was untouchable. Mm-hmm. And I said it down when we were doing the shows in New York. It was almost like the Wild West in the old days. It was the lawlessness. It was like, I'm FIFA, I'm Infantino, I'm going to give all these other countries a bundle of money, they're all going to vote for me, and we're just going to do it my way. And you know what? Like most people, he just took it too far. His position is totally untenable. And if somehow the confederations around the world cannot get this man out, I worry about where he's going to go with the organisation.
Well, the only way it's going to change is if all the other presidents shame the people that stick with him and shame them into doing it, because
UEFA and Europe has to be the strongest.
We don't know how deep some of these guys are in his pocket. That's the biggest problem.
Jules, do you want to add anything before we promote your podcast?
No, just the boys are right, but there are FAs who are still with him very much. Others are taking away the support that they had promised to give him for the next election that I mentioned in 2027, so next year. So it will be very interesting to see the next few weeks, because like we were saying, the pressure is mounting more and more on him, and he feels very much isolated right now, to the point that he might not last until the next election.
Wait, it says your podcast is back to August the 17th, Jules. What are you doing?
That's right. I'm stopping that podcast to be with you on this massive, great show.
Hey, FIFA President Gab Marcotti. It's got a ring to it.
You could have thanked him.
What do you mean? He's back in a minute.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Well, he's here in a minute. You can catch up on old ones if you like. They're available over on our website. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you for all of your questions. A lot of people welcome us back.
You got a black mark and said somebody whack you?
Yeah, I walked into a tree. So I was cutting the grass, I turned around, it does sound like a lie, but I promise you it's not. I turned around and there was a tree there.
You're on a little bit puffy on that side.
Yes, yeah, they tried to put makeup on it. What? No, nobody punched me. Finally, Arteta tracked me down, punched me in the face.
You got back from the World Cup on your holiday, and he was...
There was an Arsenal fan there, bosh. Did you guys miss doing the show, or glad you had the break? Well, a little caveat in that is that you were still doing digital, Stevie, so you didn't have a break.
Yeah, but it was from home, though, wasn't it?
So that's all right. You didn't have to put pants on.
Correct.
Exactly. Lovely mental image for everybody. Yeah. Craig, did you miss doing the show?
I mean, it's always nice to have a break.
Yes, yeah. But it's nice to be back. It's not you didn't wake up today going, oh, no, we've got to go to work.
No.
It was nice. It was very good. Yeah, it was the ESPN Golf Day yesterday. Me and Stevie played in the team. Yeah. Stevie, what was your worst moment with Dan during golf?
I don't think we had one.
No, it was good.
No.
It was nice.
No, we had a good crack.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a good shot.
It was a good day.
We had a laugh.
Very, very good.
A few beers.
Yeah, yes.
Well, I did.
Yes,
you did.
Well, it's funny that.
You had my portion.
It's funny that because when we finished the shows before the little break we had, and you weren't in, he was moaning like hell. Do you remember?
I do.
He says, "Oh, I can't believe I signed up for it."
I know. I was so surprised.
Do you know when you sign up for something, he says, then you just regret it?
I knew because I rang him. I messaged him. Okay, I know you won't want to, but do you want to? He goes, yeah, actually, I will. I was like, blooming heck, he's going to regret that many times.
Well, he did.
And even when I picked him up yesterday morning, you could tell he was completely regretting it.
Well, I'd forgotten that it normally takes 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
Which is a long time.
Because it's a scramble, so everyone's.
Which is a long time.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, it didn't. It actually went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
So actually, it was
lovely.
The weather was good.
Yeah, everyone was happy. It was a good mood.
Yeah,
Craig, how many pre-season friendlies have you watched during this off time? Welcome back. No.
I've been off.
Stevie, you were in the studio when you were doing Liverpool Wrexham.
Yeah, I wish my answer was the same as yours.
Craig and Stevie, after you played in the World Cup, how much time did you need to rest, recharge the batteries, and get prepared for the upcoming season?
Didn't get it.
So, what was your break?
I couldn't tell you exactly. I think it was a couple of weeks.
Because the Scottish season's already started, hasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think probably.
Did it start this early normally?
No.
Like, even when you were there,
No. It would have been almost the same as England. There's maybe a week's difference. No,
Right.
this does seem. It actually seems bonkers, doesn't it? That any league that plays from August through end of May, which most of Europe
Apparently
does.
you started August 1st. The 98-99 season.
August 1st? Mm-hmm. Who's told you that?
Pete.
He's got no idea. I can't remember. Well, that maybe explains why.
No idea.
Just in general, I mean, that maybe explains why we got such a short break. I can remember coming back and getting a bit of a holiday and then running round, and then back out running round Hamilton Park where we used to have to run round. So not a lot. But I'm surprised it was August the 1st.
That's what I'm being told.
Listen to him.
You beat Dunfermline 5-0.
Who? Beat who?
Dunfermline. Is it Dunfermline?
Dunfermline.
Dunfermline.
That's actually hard to say.
Dunfermline.
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 Or as the late great Wim Jansen, my coach, said Dunflumflin. Dutchman.
Do you remember that game?
Yeah, of course I remember. I scored a hat trick.
Hey!
He's told you that, hasn't he? It was the unfurling of the flag, and they were booing Fergus McCann, the owner of Celtic at the time, on the day they were unfurling the flag because he had sacked
What flag were they unfurling, sorry?
the league flag.
Why are you saying it as if this is an obvious thing?
Well, it is, isn't it?
The league flag?
Yeah, the league title flag.
League title.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
You learn something every day, so.
and it was a bit of a nasty atmosphere because Jock Brown and Fergus were not the most popular fans. So,
Right, and then you scored a hat trick.
Take that.
Right from your World Cup heroics.
blonde hair, back on, move on.
Yes.
Move on.
August the 1st.
I'm not sure. I can't remember that being that early.
Stevie, as a defending expert and for younger audiences, how good was Baresi? Was passed away this week.
Arguably the best.
Right.
You're probably looking at Franz Beckenbauer being slightly ahead of him.
What made him so good?
Every single facet of defending, he was absolutely spectacular at it, to the point that he never had to make a challenge.
He wasn't the biggest and he wasn't the quickest.
He was about 5'9.5", 5'10", maybe tallest. Read it before anybody else read it. Never made a challenge because he never had to. He was either there first or it wasn't right and he would stand off and let the big dumpling miscontrol it and then he would step in. He was in charge of his whole back four. I mean, this guy wasn't just playing his own game. He was in charge of the whole back four. That line that AC Milan
The offside.
was run by this guy. I mean, every single thing that he did, he made it look easy. Never made mistakes. I mean, just every single thing that you have to do to be a defender, he was arguably the best at all of them. Just incredible.
This
I played
takes me-
against him in the under-21s.
Right.
Back in 82.
And did you know then that he was special? Did it hit you? Because I imagine you can have...
Well, listen, when you're always on the way back after the game, you know, when you're playing against teams like Italy and the bigger names, you're always thinking, oh, I wonder who's...
Yeah.
And to ask Frank McAvenny, Frank McAvenny played against him that day. And I remember speaking to Frank and saying, you know, because this was Frank's first game as well.
Okay.
With Scotland, said, how did you... He said, well, yeah, he said, it was great. He said, but I couldn't get away for this wee guy. Because we didn't know who Baresi was.
Of course.
And Frank didn't even know his name, but we figured it out. He said, I couldn't get away for this guy. He said, every time I turned up, he said he was right next to me. He was right there. Every time I went for a ball, he just got there before me. He said, just different class.
With Newcastle losing so much talent and now Eddie Howe, Craig, who saved them from relegation when he took over? Are they now in a relegation battle?
No, I don't think so.
There's some bad teams.
Ooh, do you not think so?
Oh, there were some bad teams. You know,
But the guts ripped out them.
Ipswich are up. Hull came up.
Yeah.
Who else?
Coventry.
Coventry came up. They've signed some players, and then there's a bunch of, you know, bunch of average teams.
I forgot about that. I forgot about the 3 teams that will come up.
So there's, you know, they'd have to really strip
Forgot
that
about
list
them.
bare. I mean, they have signed some players, albeit you'd have to get on Wikipedia. But they've sold, you know, they're clearly all this investment from Saudi that Newcastle were going to do this, that, and the next thing. Not happening.
Which youngster will have a better season performance-wise for their club? Gumoa or Dowman?
Ingemore.
Ingemore. Oh. I'd have to say Ingemore because I think he'll get more opportunities.
Right.
That's the main reason. I mean, Dowman's a great player, but I don't know where the opportunities are coming from on a regular basis. Whereas Ingemore, right now, you could argue Ingemore's starting for Liverpool at Newcastle.
Centre back.
Wherever he wants.
Final question, Stevie. Given both transfer windows, do you think Manchester United will finish above Liverpool for a second consecutive season? Does that prospect of Hall joining United scare you?
It doesn't scare me, but right now, looking at the 2 squads, there's no question that Manchester United are in a way better position than Liverpool are.
Yep. That's it.
You can't argue with that.
That's it. We'll be talking about that and a lot more, of course, on ESPN FC, which is back, which is with you every single day now for the rest of our lives. Well, until they chuck us. We will be back tomorrow to discuss more. Stevie back. Ali joins us as well. You off tomorrow? You're just back for 1 day? One day and done?
I'm back Thursday.
Oh, good. Only 2 days off.
Just taking it easy. Just
Well, then
slowly
he's
getting
on holiday over the weekend, isn't he?
You've got to just feed yourself in.
Oh.